Hey y'all, it's Ashnell. I'm coming to you from a different structure today. Usually I'm writing. Last year I had my podcast. And yeah, I just had a quick thought discussion to bring to you guys. Usually I say these things like out loud to myself, not in like a dialogue where I'm like, responding to myself, but mainly just to like get it out or like I'll put it in my notes app. But I just wanted to come here and see how you guys felt about it. So, recently there's been a lot of discussion about what's happening in the overall cultural zeitgeist from music to film to fashion. And, last night was the Met Gala and award season just recapped, and there was a discussion about a lot of, quote unquote, influencers hosting these red carpet events or like after party events in, apparently or allegedly replacing real, quote unquote, journalists. And, yeah, like firstly, I just wanted to talk about this video that I just saw where on TikTok where this guy was talking about his thoughts on The Devil Wears Prada 2. And a lot of people said they didn't really like it um because for whatever reason people didn't like it. I don't know, but basically his critique is the film. I haven't seen the film yet, so I don't really know if this is true or not, but I'm just going based off of what he's talking about. He says that the film is an accurate representation of what's happening um, in fashion, in journalism, um, you know, print media basically like dying, um, journalism dying, fashion dying, everything just not being as creative and as sustainable as it once was. And for that, like, I feel a lot of the main reason for that is because in our society, like with the invention of social media, we have now been trying to remove the fourth wall in these industries. And at first with social media, it was, just for your close friends. Like you would just, have your Instagram, the Instagram of somebody that like, of the people that you like went to school with or like your coworkers, and like that would be that. But it slowly grew into, us following celebrities. Then it grew into us following people that we thought were cool, just like, in spaces like Tumblr. Like we didn't call them influencers, we just called them people of influence, in a sense. But yeah, like people on those platforms like Tumblr and Instagram, you would just follow them just for inspiration. Never really used to engage too heavy, too crazy, because they weren't celebrities. But yeah, and then eventually we got to the influencer space where things were very transparent. YouTube was popping off and people were vlogging their daily lives. So we got to know more and more about people, not out of our own volition, but just through natural progression of media. And from there, celebrities were now fighting for the attention of the audience with they were battling for our attention because we were giving our attention to the influencers, and the celebrities then realized that they had to be more transparent in order to keep our attention, for us to continue to want to follow them and be involved in their world and contribute financially for whatever things that they're selling or whatever the case may be, or doing. Then we got into the space of like I think after like maybe during the pandemic we got into the space of people in corporate spaces that were never transparent about what they did for careers, or like how they got there. Now we then flipped things on its head and really started to talk about every single thing. Like we are in people's homes with AD. I don't know. Architectural Digest has been doing that at home series for a while, and but it just became really more popular, and like sub categories of those home interviews started to become popular, and basically like celebrities just wanted to become influencers in the way that they wanted our attention, so there became a lot of other opportunities and avenues to do so, like for instance like the chicken shop date with what is her name, Amanda, oh my god girl, I forgot her name, but and then you have Hot Ones, um and then you have what else? Just like, Instagram Live, all these other ways to connect with your audience and community. Um, and back to the corporate girlies of, I guess like a little bit pre-pandemic, but mainly during the pandemic, people started being more vocal about what they did, how they got there, and all these other things. And also with the invention of I guess like organizations like the CCNY, with like CultureCon and all these other things, and a lot of other um I guess like communal um stages for young professionals to commune and see people in these industries talk in real life about what they do, how they got there, how we can get there, how we can, network. All of these like networking organizations and opportunities started to get really popular. And that then led to, that being shared on social media. And within these fashion spaces, like in the overall like cultural zeitgeist as a whole, people just became very honest about everything. And people then also wanted to start working in those spaces because they were like, okay, just naturally like being curious, and people do have dreams, and people have dreams, and people then do things that they have to do in order to live a decent life or a semi decent life or whatever the case may be. But with the more information, people started to seek out their dreams, seek out their passions in life. So I say all of that to say that we've become very I don't want to say necessarily parasocial, but yeah, semi like parasocial with culture and like the arts and media and all these different things. Like it's a little too much. And like there's a difference between sharing information with a community. Like I like the idea of a conference or whatever because you're communing with people of like-minded, like people that have like minds in a space and that have a similar goal in order to, reach it. And, people have to do the work of figuring it out, like of figuring out like, okay, does this conference make sense for me? Should I go? Da da da, whatever. Da, da. There's like an investment to it, and like, you have to pay obviously. Um, but yeah, like through social media, I feel like there, because you're not paying for it, it's like it just removes that veil, that fourth wall. And I feel with a lot of these industries, that fourth wall was what was keeping things together in a sense. And I'm not talking about I'm not talking about access. I'm not talking about gatekeeping. I'm not talking about those things. I do believe everybody should have opportunities and be able to know what's out there for them, know what's available, to see people that look just like them in these positions and, be passionate about what they do. Like, there's nothing wrong. Like, I'm following my dreams and I'm, chasing after my own passions. And I've been able to leverage information from, like, the early 2000s, from people that I've seen on TV, like fictional characters, to in more recent times, I guess, like in high school and college, when I got to see real life people like, Issa Rae or whatever, um, do what they do. And then in my mind, I can then transfer that information into how I am searching for my own dreams. Um, but ultimately, there is this, I don't know, like, there is this like friction between, like, too much information and not enough information at the same time. And I feel like the information that is being communicated from the perspective of people in the industry to, the consumers, is being very like convoluted, and like it's kind of uh an ongoing conversation back and forth. And like, I don't know, it's just like there's not enough magic to it anymore, if you know what I mean. Like, we know too much. Like, we're seeing behind the scenes takes on Instagram, like from the Met Gala. We're seeing all these other things. We're seeing perspectives that we've never seen before. Like, we're having access to things we've never seen before, never had before. And it's becoming a lot, and I feel like it's diluting the quality of things, and it's diluting the industry in a way, because the people in the actual industry are trying to cater to the audience, but they're catering to the audience in a way that is not true to the industry. So, back to the whole influencers hosting red carpet events and interviews, that's not true to the industry. You know what I mean? Like, those type of positions, and like, this is no shade to any influencer. Like, if somebody reached out to you to do a job, like, duh. Like, duh, I would do that too. If somebody reached out to me today and said, hey, we would like for you to do da da da, like, I don't have a journalism degree. Like, I have a communications degree. I didn't go to journalism school. I went to get my master's in public relations, so I know I could do it. But, in general, like, if I didn't have all of that, like, I still would be like, yeah, duh. Like, you're not gonna pass up on like an amazing opportunity like that. But ultimately, that position was a coveted position for people that had the credentials for it. You know what I mean? So if we are continuing to normalize having influencers in these spaces, it then devalues the need for journalists, you know? And it's like, there are so many journalists right now, and the industry knows this. There's so many journalists right now that um need jobs, need opportunities. Like, this industry, especially Black women, like, there is a lack of opportunity. Well, actually, no, there's not a lack of opportunity. There's a lack of reaching out to these qualified people who have either had the credentials or have the credentials and then some, to do these jobs. Like, we're getting people from TV shows to host things. We're getting people from like some random series on TikTok to host things. We're getting animals to host things. We're getting little kids to host things. And as much as I like kids and it's cute and stuff, that or whatever, and every time I see a little kid doing an interview with like celebrities or whatever the case may be, I'm like, okay, this is cute, but now you took the opportunity from a grown ass adult to do this job. You know what I mean? And uh, it, again, everything is very nuanced, very, very, very nuanced. And I'm not trying to come for nobody. Everybody is deserving to do exactly what they want to do. But I'm just saying, from the perspective of how the industry is going, we need to get back to a place of having standards again. We need to get back to a place where, or not even get back to, we need to create a newer space where, or a newer understanding that, people in these certain industries, like if you go to school for journalism, you come out, you have all of these credentials and qualifications and the background, the knowledge, the wherewithal, everything to do this job more than well, you shouldn't be passed up or just like not reached out to at all just because this organization, this magazine, this publication wants the interview or the opportunity to be to go viral on social media. Like that shouldn't be the goal. Like, you know what I mean? Like the virality of it all. Like we're losing recipes. We're losing recipes. And I knew this was interesting too because when I saw Anna Wintour on the cover of Vogue next to Meryl Streep, I was like, oh, Anna Wintour is, I don't know. This is just me, but I just feel like, oh, Anna Wintour is just like kind of like reaching for it because this is so unlike her. Like, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, yes, it was for the perfect moment. Like it for the perfect moment between her and Meryl Streep for the promotion of Devil Wears Prada 2, and it made sense. But then again, like I was saying before, that fourth wall. Sometimes you have to just like continue in the bit of it all. Like the allure of Anna Wintour is that, you know, we don't know much about her. We don't know um yeah, like we don't know much about her. She's not really a public person in the sense, like, you know what I mean? Like obviously for fashion weeks and the Met Gala and all these things, like she will pop up, but she's not popping up on magazine covers, and like obviously it's for Vogue, duh, like that's her child at this point. um and like it makes sense, but at the same time it's just like this is unprecedented, um but yeah, the industry itself is at a decline, and in the video, the guy is talking about how the industry is just shifting in a way that's not beneficial for the industry itself. It's like the industry is basically like shooting itself in the foot, and to keep the attention of us. And another thing that I noticed is like I've never seen a generation name mention more than Gen X. And I'm so tired of it. Like, why the hell does the industry care so much about what the fuck Gen X thinks? And this is no shade to Gen X. Like, I mean, Gen Z. I said Gen X, child. Gen Z. The name, like Gen Z, I haven't seen that, like a name of a generation so much in my life. Like, I remember because I'm a millennial, I think. Like I'm like on the cusp kind of. And I never used to like see the millennium thing. Like I never used to really hear that too often. But Gen Z, oh my God, like every industry cares so much about what Gen Z thinks. Oh, is this the new Gen Z? Da da da. The Gen Z this, the Gen Z that. Da 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 da. And then vice versa. Like Gen Z cares too much about what millennials think, or oh, like the millennial this and da 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 da. When I was younger, I didn't give a damn about no other generation. I was hyped to be around my own age group. That's what I was concerned about. And I wasn't thinking about, oh, the older generation, they don't understand because da, 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 da. I didn't give a crap. I didn't care. I didn't care. I was living for myself and my friends, and living for figuring it out, like living for finding myself and how I uh manifest in this world. Like, I never was concerned about another generation. And then like this industry, like this is the first time I'm hearing, and maybe I missed it. Maybe I wasn't really paying attention. Y'all let me know. But these organizations, industries, businesses, they care too fucking much about what Gen Z thinks. And I think that's another thing that's making these industries decline. Because instead of these industries telling Gen Z what's cool, they're relying on Gen Z to tell them what's cool. And that's not cool, you know? Like, as a brand, like, this conversation is kind of going all over the place, but this is just how my brain operates. But for example, like the whole like resurgence of like the early 2000s situation, and like maybe this has always happened, but I just was too young to really see it for what it was. But again, like, y'all let me know. um the whole early 2000s resurgence has been very interesting because it's always like certain specific segments of early 2000s culture that is being resurged, not the actual early 2000s culture, if you know what I mean. Like, I haven't seen a resurgence of a Walkman, of CDs, and like I'm seeing people slowly get there. Like, I see people I'm seeing people buy CDs and like have their CD player, like the home CD player, um, and using that, utilizing that. But I haven't seen one person in real life, and I live in New York City. You know, this is a place of fucking what's it call it? People putting on a show, basically. Um Performance, basically, the performativeness of it all. Like, this is the land of performative culture. So I'm surprised I haven't seen it on the train or whatever. But um yeah, like, it's like these certain segments of the early 2000s culture that they are selecting to manifest. And like, a lot of these businesses, they're not even like taking the time to see the things that hasn't been uncovered in early 2000s culture, to then make that part of their like marketing plan or PR plan, whatever. Because if I had like, I don't know, like a some form of like some form of business, whatever, I would leverage the CD Walkman situation, because people are getting back to physical media. Like, I remember when vinyls became like trendy again, if you want to say that, became popular again. Like, I was working at Urban Outfitters in college, and like that whole like hipster era, like, I remember when that was popping up and everybody wanted a record player, everybody wanted vinyls, like everybody wanted to do that. And that's still happening today. Like, people are very much into the physical media, and I love that. Um but yeah, I feel like it's interesting how people only want to participate in certain sectors of, the resurgence of the early 2000s culture. But to reel it back, like, these businesses are basically relying on us as the consumer to tell them what's cool. And that's not necessarily so different from before. Like maybe like the 70s, I guess you can say, like that whole era of, like, bell bottoms and peace, love, light, that whole culture. They have been, you know, the consumer was telling the industries and the organizations like what was cool. But at the same time, I feel like the organizations and the industry was creating new cultures at the same time. Like it was like a relationship between the two. Now it's only one-sided. That's what it feels like. But yeah, back to this ended, like the cultural zeitgeist, journalism, artistry, fashion, the decline of like print media and all these things. uh I ultimately think that we're just lost. Like when I think about 2026 and like the past maybe like 6 years since the pandemic, um I can't mark something down as like this is our culture of the past 6 years, if that makes sense. Like the culture of the past 6 years to me um has been very much just reheating the nachos. There's nothing that I can say that's been like, aha, like this is our culture of this time period. Like the last time I can remember there being a significant culture shift, I would say that like hipster era. The hipster era slash druggy era slash um like I don't know. Yeah, like that whole era, like Drake era, I guess you can say as like a marker. Um yeah, like Drake slash future era, I guess you can say. But I think that's like the last time I saw there being a major shift in culture. The hipster era being for me that whole like, flower crown. This is where like Afro punk was still free. This is where New York was really thriving. Like there were like so many like cute like festivals and street concerts and free stuff happening around. What else was happening? This was the era of wearing shorts with like tights and Uggs, and this is like the era of um yeah, that was the era. Like everybody was like coloring their hair. The natural hair movement coincided with that. Um and then like the future Drake era. It's so silly to say, but I'm trying to figure out, like, I have nothing else to like really think about it as like a significant thing to say. But the future Drake era to me was not only manifested in like the music, and then like back to hipster culture, with music we had Childish Gambino, Jhené Aiko, Chance the Rapper, um whom else, SZA, all of those folks, and like early Summer Walker. I missed that first project. But anyway, back to Drake Future vibes. So we had the Migos. Who else we had? We had yeah, I think the Migos is probably like the best artist I can say for that whole era. But yeah, fashion wise, it was, the guys wearing like that typical like brunch fit, the Chelsea boot, the black turtleneck with the chain, and like, if they feeling real festive, they could throw on that hat, that like wide brim like hat, the same hat that Jamie Foxx is wearing these days. Um but yeah, like that was the vibes. Those were the vibes. And like ever since then, there hasn't really been a newer culture. Well, actually I'm lying. I think the culture of today is like, or like since then has been this quote unquote like clean girl aesthetic slash like people trying to be cool and like not really knowing what that cool is, if that makes sense. Like I feel like there's like this thing where people are trying really hard. Maybe that's what it is. That's making it feel strange to me because back then, like, I don't know, like, I personally felt like I wasn't really trying. Like, I mean, I was trying, like, I was trying to look cute, but I was just like, the clothes of those times felt more free, if that makes sense. It felt more like, oh, we're just putting on stuff so we could just go about our day. Like, I'm just putting on these shorts and stuff. Like, yes, it is a trend, and yes, it is a part of this like subculture right now. But ultimately, I'm, I'm just trying to be free. But today, the fashion is really rigid, and like people are playing it as this freeness because they're wearing like a shit ton of colors. And you know what it is, like you see these fashion people on Instagram and TikTok and stuff, and it's like they're wearing like 10 bracelets, 10 rings. They got it's just a lot going on, like overly. They have a skirt on, they have pants under that skirt, they you know putting their shirt in a scrunchie and turning a tie into with this and all of these things are cool. Like the creativity of it is cool, but it's when it's all you putting it all on all at the same time. Everything everywhere all at once. It's too much. Like this maximalism ness of it. Like there's like two sides of it. Two sides of the fashion, or like yeah, the fashion part of the culture today. It's either doing too much or it's like this very minimalistic thing. And it's very interesting. Like I don't like, and I'm not against either. Like I really am not. Like, I'm here for people doing what makes them feel comfortable and what makes sense to them. Um but it's just very interesting to see. But it's like, again, like this like fighting of two things that are like the total opposite of each other. And in like this culture today, I don't even really know what you could really call it. Like I don't feel the vibes like how I did one before in those previous ones that I mentioned. Like when I was in those cultures and like in those vibes, it felt very omnipresent. It felt like you felt it. You knew exactly where you were. Today, it is a lot of confusion. It is a lot of like, you know, there's just a lot going on. Not even only in the fashion front, just like, you know, in the overall cultural zeitgeist. It's too much going on. Too many people, so many people want to do the same exact thing. Everybody wants to be seen. Everybody wants to be that person, the one. And like, it feels like everybody is chasing like the same exact thing. And like, there are a lot of opportunities. I'm not trying to make it seem like, oh, there's not enough space. There's space for everybody here in this industry. But I think that we need to share more about the other things. Like, what was it yesterday? I saw Mayor Zoran Mamdani. He was celebrating, the Met Gala Day by highlighting and showcasing the textile workers, I believe, let me go on his page right quick so I can make sure that I'm actually telling the truth. But Mom Donnie. Mom Donnie. But yeah, like there is. Oh, here he is. Yes, like on the page it says, do 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 do, work of art, turning the lens on the workers who power fashion. Yeah. And his caption says, while the world's eyes are on fashion's biggest night, we're turning ours to the garment, retail, and warehouse workers who keep the industry turning. From true love found on the picket line to a free tailoring school out of a Brooklyn basement, meet the New Yorkers who are making it all possible. Yeah. So, to this regard, um, we need to shine a light on these type of opportunities. You know what I mean? People say they like music and want to become a singer. People say they like fashion and want to become a fashion designer. People say they like tech and want to work at Google. We have to figure out a different way of not saying no that you can't do these things, but showing everybody, showing all of us that there are different things that you can do. Yes, you may like fashion, but maybe you want to go into fashion law. Yes, you like music, but maybe you want to be a writer or a producer. Yes, you like food. Maybe you don't want to be a chef, but maybe you want to be a food scientist. You know what I mean? Like the nuance of it all. Again, the word nuance. Like l- let's and we have all this damn technology, but I feel like people just aren't doing the research either. um, because even for me, like when I tell people that I'm a publicist, they're like, "Oh, how did you get into that?" Da, 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 da. And I'm just like, journalism and publicist is like right there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not that far of a stretch. But I guess for some people, it doesn't really. I don't know. Like, they don't really register it. Like, people just see like when it comes to media, they just see writing and art, like journalism. Um, and yes, like I get that because it's like it's a very forward facing job. Like when you see broadcast journalists on TV, like you see them, or like when you're reading a magazine you see it. A publicist is a very like behind the scenes job, so I totally get it. But again, research. um but yeah, I just wanted to come on here. I've been talking for like the past 37 minutes. um Yeah, I might come on here again and like talk more about these like random ideas and thoughts that I have. Like, and my goal here isn't I don't really have a goal. I just want to just get it out, hear what you guys think. Um, you know, uh, and yeah, just have more stuff out there for us to talk about. But, it's not for me to have a solution. It's not for me to tell people what to do or like how to do it. Just my own thoughts, my own brain, my own self, Ashnell. But yeah, thanks for listening and talk to you guys later.